Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Is anyone there currently? So let me open my yeah. So currently, hello, everybody. Is anyone there currently? Currently, we don't have anyone, Emmanuel. So we have to wait for another 5 minutes.
All right.
Hey, hi, Shubham. Yeah, we are good to go, but we don't see anyone here currently. I don't know, so if they are aware what's going on, or I don't know, but currently we don't see anyone. Let's wait for 5 to 7 minutes and let's see if someone drops in.
All right.
It seems, hi Gaurav, it seems like only our team members are there currently. So most of them were interested in the web development, or what was the case, Emmanuel? Can you tell me? Hey, someone is here. Hey, Henry. So we have one more who has dropped in. Let's see. So, Emmanuel, according to you, around 10 people showed interest in this Python, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, around 10 people showed interest in Python,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. But I can hear you.
Yeah. So currently we see that only one candidate has dropped in. Give me a second. Okay. So no worries. We would be starting. At least we have one or two guys. No worries. So although yes, hey Shivam, yes, this is open for all. This is open for all. Why not? Okay. So not from Nigeria. No worries, Shivam. If you want to learn, then it's okay. It is open for all. It was like that. This particular initiative was started just for Nigerian students, but it is good to know that someone from
Yeah.
India also
Um,
wants to join, and you are most welcome. Okay, what we are learning today. So we are learning. We are learning. Just a second. There is some problem with my charger. Guys, give me a second, please. Things are going haywire at my end currently. Now fine. So we would be learning Python, and we are starting. Okay. So before we start, I would be introducing about the youth project for some minutes, and as some of you might be aware that the youth project is a community initiative in which we are trying to educate the youth. So we are trying to increase the quality of their lives, okay, through this. And me, Devansh Shrivastava, and Gaurav Chouhan, my colleague, we have initiated this. And since last 3 months, we have been like at many places and many events we have conducted around, and we have trained around like 400 students, and many of them had a very good, very good experience with us, and they what we are trying to inculcate in the youth is that practical knowledge is very important. Even if you learn like 4 or 5 concepts, you must learn with the view or vision that you have to create something out of it. Okay, just learning a technology and learning all the concepts of that technology is not going to help in the next era of the jobs. So that's why we decided that we will start the youth project, wherein we would be fully concentrating on the practical knowledge and hands-on stuff. And yes, and like we have been into the youth project Nigeria with Emmanuel, and along with him, we initiated this youth project Nigeria, wherein we are also taking care of the Nigerian students. And yes, so there are many driving factors why we started this. And one of the biggest factor was that when we conducted a research, a survey on the students, we found that many, like most of those students were not able to code an app through their knowledge. Let's talk about engineering, BCA, MCA, all the graduate courses which are going on, 3 years, 4 years courses. Those students told that they were not able to build their own apps on their with their knowledge. And the after effect of this was they have been into various situations wherein they have to struggle with their salaries. They have to work on very low wages. They have to work under bad circumstances, and that's why the quality also depletes. Okay, so this is really bad if you invest a whole lot of amount into your engineering or any course, and then you are working for very less money. Then it is of no sense. So that's why practical knowledge is very important. And that's why we have introduced the youth project. And our aim is not to make you cram everything or to teach you, like if we talk about Python right now. And so our aim would not be to teach you whole each and every in and outs of Python, because it is endless. Okay, it has a lot of concepts. Okay, and you cannot learn everything in like a month or two. So it's like we would be taking a small application into a consideration, and we would be learning concepts and how these concepts work. Okay, so this is our plan. And we yeah, so make you speak correctly, this is one of the things. So what we mean by make you speak correctly is when you know how things work internally, when you create objects in Python, how do they exactly work, so you know how much you must know how to speak. Okay, and that is a very crucial things when it comes to programming. And many of the programmers, they totally ignore this skill, but this skill is not something to be ignored. If you cannot convey your problem in the right way, then my brother or my sister, you are in a deep trouble in your IT life. Okay, so also you must be aware of your like of the opportunities of the 21st century job market. Okay, if you go on LinkedIn, you will see that even from a college graduate, they require a lot of experience. So this is the case in the industry, and you need to be aware of this. So and yes, so you can, after learning like anything hands on or on a practical basis, when you learn something, you have the power to create something. Okay, and your life can be like financially free. So these are the couple of things which we are trying to tell you, because IT life can give you financial freedom. If you work seriously, it can give you financial freedom irrespective of your college degree or anything else. So, what our week is going to look like? Okay, so some of we would be on the day one. We would be discussing some of the Python fundamentals. Okay, and we would be like learning what are functions in Python, what are methods, what are predefined methods, and what are user-defined methods. Okay, taking input from the CLI. And then what we will be doing is next on the next day, we would be learning about the object oriented architecture. It is said that in Python, everything is an object. So we would be going through how object oriented architecture works in Python, and also like how these data structure like dicts and list tuples sets, how these works in the RAM level. Okay, so we would be learning how these things work at the RAM level. So so that you will get an idea like how the object oriented programming languages work. Okay, if you understand this particular class of day 2, then you will not have any problem in understanding Java or understanding Golang. Any of the object oriented programming language you will be able to understand. Okay, so and then we would be building a small COVID application. Okay, and in that COVID application, we would be taking a country name as input, and then we would be searching the data, searching the data through our data structure. And this would be a CLI application, as that CLI means command line interface. And then we would be learning some Django. As you know, Django is a framework of web development in Python. Then we would be transporting, like we would be porting our app, our COVID app, into a web app. So first we will create the app in CLI, and then we'll be port that app into a web app through Django. Okay, and then finally we will move on to REST APIs and JSON data and stuff like that. So this is a very very practical oriented session. And finally, like if you guys feel comfortable, we will move on to database connectivity and Django ORM and stuff. So REST APIs is the current standards, and if you know how to build REST APIs in Python Django, then you are like more than employable. Easily, you will get a job. Easily, you can get your remote contracts, etc. Because it is a skill which is in high demand. So, so this is how our week is going to look like. Okay. And yes, so without much further ado, let's start the hands-on. As I told you that this is going to be a hands-on session, and we would be doing everything practically. So let's move on to the command line, and let's move on to understand some things in Python. Okay, let me close this. So I hope you all are aware with the Python installation. Okay, it's very simple. We will be dealing with Python 3. Okay, because some of you may ask why we are doing Python 3. Why not Python 2? So it is very simple. Why we are doing Python 3 is because Python 3 is very active. The community behind Python 3 is very active. The developers community which have been which who have developed this Python 3 are very active. On the other hand, Python 2, the community is very like they were active, but now they are only concentrating on Python 3 because they have introduced some powerful features over here. And the Python 2 developers, they have already told that they would be stopping the support of Python 2 like in the future. They have not told any deadlines or stuff, but they have told this. So that's why we would be doing everything on Python 3. And yes, so if you go to python.org, you will find you will find the links for the downloads easily for your operating system, according to your operating system, like Windows, Unix, or any other, like Mac OS, any other. So you can directly click onto this. Then it will ask you which Python, like which version you want to install, and you can go through the installer. So when you go to through the installation process, you will find that there is an option called add Python to your path environment variable. So don't forget to click that particular option, okay? Because it is a very mandatory thing which you need to do. And also, if you forget, then there is a way, but it is recommended that you have to click that option so as to avoid all the hassles and all the problems. Okay. So this was about the Python installation. Then let's talk about the command line. So if you go onto your search box and type command, then you will see this command prompt app. You can open that. You have to open that app after installation. You have to open that app, and you will see a black window which is called command prompt. Now, what you have to do is this is the one way of opening like your command prompt. Okay. The second way is what we will do is onto the desktop, we would be creating a folder. Okay. Let's create a folder called Python Nigeria. And inside that folder, what we will do is we'll only in the Windows, I'm telling, we'll go up to the right side and then we'll click file. Herein, you will find open new window. Here, simply you can open the command prompt inside this particular folder. Okay. So if you find any problems with the commands like Windows commands, you can directly go to that folder. Okay. Up on the left hand side, you will find file. Inside that file, you will find the path to open your command prompt. Okay. So the other way, as I told you, the first one is simply like you go to your command prompt and you then type, you can navigate to that particular folder, and you can just simply go inside your folder. And herein, first, to check that your installation has been properly done or not, let me increase the font size a bit. Okay. So I would be increasing the font size. I hope you all are able to see my. Okay. So herein, after the installation is done and you are inside your working folder, what you have to do is simply, I think we have some people over here. So we have just started and now we are going to write our first program in Python. Okay. So Python, if you want to check the installation, what you have to do is you have to simply write Python on your command prompt. And if you see all this like Python 3.8.2 and all this stuff over here, it means that your Python has been installed perfectly, and also your version, that is Python 3.8.2. Okay, this is the latest version of Python, and we would be using this version throughout our course. So if you want to follow everything hands on, then you must have Python 3x version. Now if you see that when you write Python, you enter into something else, like it doesn't seem the same it used to look like 4 or 5 lines above. Okay, so what is that? What exactly is that? So that is a Python console. Okay. So Python provides its own console wherein you can write the code directly. Like if I write this, hello world, then you will see, and when you will hit enter, you will see that okay, Python is that whenever I'm writing the Python line of code over here inside this particular window, then it is getting executed. And if I exit it, like let's say I hit exit, I write exit to come out of this, and I type the same line over here, then you will see that there is some error. Okay, because this is the particular this C users desktop, this particular thing is belonging to your computer. Okay, and when you write Python, when you write Python, then when you see these three arrows over here, you have entered into the Python CLI. And when you write print hello Nigeria, you will see that Nigeria has been printed. So this has been interpreted or executed by the Python uh, compiler or the interpreter, because we entered into the Python console. Okay, so Python compiler is a whole lot, like a group of software wherein they provide you a compiler plus an interpreter. So Like in other languages, what we used to do was, first we used to compile the code. Let's say in Java, first we used to compile the code, and then we used to interpret the code. Okay. So but on the other hand, the Python interpreter, we can directly write the code. Python will interpret it, and first it will compile it, and then it will interpret it. Okay, what I mean to say is, let me tell you through a diagram, a rough diagram I will make. So over here, when I write a piece of code and I give to Python, then the interpreter over here, it it will first compile the code. It will check line by line. Okay, line 1 is okay, line 2 is okay, line 3 is okay, and then finally runs your code as well and give you the output. On the other hand, when you do same thing in Java, then first you have to give this code to your compiler, wherein it will check your code line by line. Okay, this line, this line, this line. Then you will get a class file out of it. You will get another file out of it. Okay, then you have to give that file manually to your interpreter. Okay, that is java.exe. Okay, so there are two level of there are two level process in this particular thing, like in Java, and in Python compiler or and the interpreter. Okay, and then it will itself compile the code, and if it is right, then it will only run the code. Okay, so Python has made things easier. Although everything which you are able to do in Python, you can do in Java, and vice versa. But why Python is widely adopted all over is Python is very easy. Like they have made things very easier. Okay, so this was the difference. Like even though when you write something over here, you will see that it is directly showing you the output. But internally what happens is, the Python first checks your code. Let's say if I write something wrong over here, let's say I write hello Nigeria, and I do a syntax mistake, that I don't close the string and the print function, then you see that there will be an error. So this is a proof that Python has first tried to compile it, this particular line of code, and then Python has tried to run it. But the first step is compilation. So if the code fails at the compilation phase, then the Python will never execute it. Okay, the Python interpreter will not execute it. So this is the thing. And now let's move on to some other concepts like variables and stuff. So again, when it comes to Python, it is very easy to write variables and all the things which takes a lot of effort in Java or any other language. Like let's say when in Java I want to write a variable, I write int a equals to 4. Okay. On the other hand, when I want to declare a variable, let's say I want to declare a number, I have just to write a equals to 3. Okay, so you see that when I write a equals to 3, you will not see anything written on the console, but something has happened inside. Something has happened inside the RAM. I will tell you what has happened, but first you see that what actually, like how actually it is shown over here. So when I write a equals to 3, then when I want to print that, you will see that this variable has been printed. Okay. So variable declaration does not need any kind of data type declaration in Python. Like in Java, you have to write int a equals to 3, or when you have to declare a string name equals to Nigeria. Okay, this is a string in Java, but if you want to write in Python, then you just have to write name equals to Nigeria, and you're done. When you type print name, you will see that Nigeria has been printed. Okay, so this is the thing, like all the variables which you know, like boolean, number, string, and everything which you have read about, they can be declared directly in Python. Like you can just go name equals to 3 also. It doesn't matter. Okay. So the variable declaration is quite straightforward, but how it works is it is very beautiful how it works, that we are going to see now. Now, if someone asks you that what is the data type of this name, okay, okay, you have written name equals to Nigeria and all, but what if you didn't knew that what is the data type of this name? Okay, although I have said you that there is no need to write the data type explicitly in your Python code, but internally, the Python assigns data types to each and every variables which you write. Okay, let's see. If I write, just to prove you this point, if I write type name, you will see something has been printed. It says class str. Okay, again, when I do same thing for a, like let's say type a, you will see again class int. What does that implies to? Okay, this implies that the variable which you have declared, although doesn't contain the data type, but internally somewhere Python has given it a data type. Okay, now how the data types are assigned in Python? Okay, I will tell you a brief story about how actually it happens inside the RAM. Okay, uh, here in when you see when you type and in the bracket when you type name, okay, then what is printed is the class which that particular variable name belongs to. Herein you see that the class is str. So that's why we say that everything, every variable which we declare in Python are objects. I will tell you how. Because when I want to do some operations, okay, they these objects can be used, and these objects can be used to call the methods. Like if you say name dot capitalize, then you see that the first letter has been capitalized. Okay, if you do let's say name equals to, I'm typing everything in the lowercase, and if I type name dot capitalize, then you see the first letter has been capitalized. Okay, how it is happening? Because the name is not only a variable, it is not only a primitive data type, but it is an object. What is an object? Okay, what exactly an object is and how it works in the RAM. If you understand this, then you will not face any problem in the future, like whenever you are interpreting lists, tuples, or anything else, you will not face any problem in the future. So let's see how actually it works inside. This is a very important topic. and this you need to understand this. If you This is a very basic thing, and what actually happens is when you write name equals to Nigeria, okay, what happens is there is a memory allocation in the RAM for the variable name. Okay. And there is an object created of class str. When you do type name, you find that it was written that the type of this name is class str. So you see that an object is created of string class in Python, and name contains the address to that object. Okay, so let's say in the RAM, the address of this particular object is 1000. So this particular variable name will contain 1000 in this. Now what happens is when you do this thing, now this particular object is of string class, okay, and there are some predefined methods in the string class which has been provided to us by the Python developers themselves. Okay, so what happens over here is there are all the methods already written, like capitalize, okay, and uppercase. There may be a whole lot of methods of this, like ends with, okay, and now as I have the reference of this object, I can easily reach to these methods and through the dot operator, and can easily write name dot capitalize, because I have the address of this object. Okay, similarly I can write name dot uppercase or name dot ends with. You just have to see how these methods are internally written. Okay, like ends with must be written in such a way that it must be taking some parameters. Okay, or and the capitalized method is written in the way that it does not need any parameters. Okay, so it is just the way of writing the methods, and Python developers has already written these methods in those classes, like a string. For the string, Python developers has written different set of methods, and for numbers they have written their own methods. Okay, so this is the case, and I'm sorry, this is how it actually works inside the memory, and the basic core of any object oriented programming language is this only. And when we will in future, when we will see the lists and all the stuff, like when we will say that students equals to I I'm sorry. Then you will see that when you will type, let's say you have declared this list, I will tell you what lists are. But when you write type students you will see that it is of class set. Now you can easily go and check out on Google, like of class set in Python, and you will find those methods easily, like remove, add, copy. So this is how like object oriented programming languages work. And if you learn this particular basic concept of how these are working, then you will be able to demystify any library or any like any predefined classes which are written. Let's say we talk about web scraping, we use Beautiful Soup. For machine learning, or for OpenCV, we use computer vision, we use OpenCV and stuff like that. So those are nothing but predefined classes which have been created by the developers. And if you know how to use these variables, these objects, then it would be very very easy for you to read the documentation and to learn further. Okay. Anywho, let's move on. There is like, this is a nice thing to see whatever you write and the output comes then and there. But in the production level environment, you cannot write everything on the command line. Okay, you have to write your code in a separate file and then execute it. Okay, because there are multiple reasons. One of the biggest reason is once I write the code and I exit, then I don't have any of these variables like a student's name and whatever variables which we created. We don't have any of those variables present. The next time when I move inside the Python CLI, there are no variables which I already declared. Let's say print name. You will not find that variable again, because once you exit this particular CLI, the Python CLI, all the memory allocations are cleared from the RAM. Okay. So this is the thing. That's why what we need is we need a separate file in which we write our Python code, and then we execute that particular code through the command line. Let's see how it works. Let's exit it, and through your notepad create a file. My okay, notepad space hello world dot py. Here, you write your first code of Python. Let's say you hit save, Control S, you close this particular window, and now when you do Python hello world dot py, then you will see that the code which you have written in your file has been executed. Okay, so whatever future code you are going to write, if you want to maintain that code, if you want to have that code, if you want to persist that code, you need to have you have to follow this particular execution model, wherein you create your Python file, your py file, and then you execute that py file through this command, Python space the name of your file and extension. So this is the thing. Now, same all the operations which you can do on your command line, those can be done inside your Python file and much more. Now, let's talk something about, let's say I declare a variable over here, name equals to Devansh, country equals to India. Okay, and I say print name, print country then you will see that all those lines of code are being executed by Python, right? So the one point which I'm trying to tell you is Python always executes the code line by line, okay? And it will not do. Let me open this file. This is the line one. This is the line two. This is line three. This is line four, and this is line five. Python always executes your file, like always executes your file line by line. And let's say if it finds something wrong in the third line, let's say I forgot this code over here, and I try to compile, try to run this, then you will see that the Python control flow has been broken. So that's why it is said that Python executes all your code inside the file line by line, and it is not like Node.js or any other asynchronous language where there is a possibility that the line 1 executes first. Second, there may be a case where line 3 got executed. uh, it will not happen. The compilation and execution will always happen line by line. Okay, so if I talk about conditionals or like if else, you have to apply these things whenever you are checking conditions. Let's say you have to say hello if my country is India, and if you have to say hi if my country is Nigeria. So let's see how it works. If then this is the syntax of this is the syntax of writing if else conditionals in your code. So if country is equals to India, okay, this is the comparison operator which you apply, and let's see if it compiles. Sorry. Okay, I forgot to apply this code over here. Okay, so what it says is there is a problem with this literal, that is colon. So let's see what the problem is. I again missed the double quotes. Let's see. Okay, I'm missing a line over here. Just a minute. Py. Okay, so this here, if I remove country, and again line 3, the semicolon has been missed. Everything okay? Yeah. So you see that there, what the problem which I faced with this was I was not able to figure out where exactly the problem is lying with my if and else, or the problem is something else. Because why here the Python works with indentations. Okay, what does indentation means? Although this if and else condition worked fine for us, okay, let me check this again. If country equals to India, if country equals to India, then print hey India, else print hello Nigeria. If I change the country to Nigeria, then what will happen is it will print hello Nigeria, right? Although it worked fine, but what you will see is if I just shift print two spaces back, the first print inside the inside this if I print if I shift this print two stages back and I shift else, the print inside the else one space forward, then you see what will happen. Let's see what happens in this case. Okay, now let me change. Now let me change the country again to India, and you will see that this time I'm sorry, let me keep it Nigeria only, and you will see that I will apply one more condition over here. L if country equals to Nigeria, print I am inside L if. What I'm trying to tell you is that Python works through indentations. And just a minute. The scopes of every like if and else and every function or every class are defined through indentations. Okay, so if I do this and see what happened is it says that this code contains indentation error, although all our syntax has been written in the right way and all the syntax is fully correct, but it shows that the code contains indentation error at line 8. Okay, so let me figure out what the problem is. Okay, the problem is that Python always works on indentation. For example, if I want to write something, then I have to provide the proper indentation to it. Let's say I'm writing if country equals to India, then I'm giving 4 spaces here. Then for the same if I'm writing the else condition, else if condition, then again I have to provide 4 spaces. Then for the same if, when I'm writing the else condition for the same ladder, the if ladder, I'm writing the else condition, then again I have to give equal indentation, that is 4 spaces. Okay, then only the whole control flow will work fine. Okay, the whole if else if ladder will work fine. Let's check out if that works for us. taking time. So you see that everything works fine now. I just have indented the blocks correctly, and everything, the code which I have written, that works fine now, right? So that's why we say that we do not use any curly braces or anything else inside in Python for defining the scopes. Let's say in Java, what you used to do was, if country equals to India, then you have to write this. Else if country equals to Nigeria, you have to write this. Okay. But in Python, you don't have the curly braces mechanism. Instead of that, what you have to use is proper indentation, the proper spacing of your code according to your logical separation. Okay. So according to your logical arrangement. So let's say you are writing an if condition. For that if you are writing the else condition, then you must provide the same indentation for their bodies. Okay. Let's say if I provide two spaces over here, two tab spaces, one tab space, two tab space. So for this, I have to say do the same. For the whole ladder, I have to have the same indentation. Now, if I want to write this thing, if inside a if, then I can do this two, and then I have to give further indentation inside this if as well. So whatever you do, it is just like saying you are starting a body and you are ending your body in Java or in any other language. But in Python, you have to do this blocking, the code blocking, the logical separation through indentations. Okay. So this is the concept of indentation which you need to follow all through your Python programming life. And what the problem with this is, the notepad is that if the indentation is bad, if I have missed the indentation, I easily cannot figure out because the code is not numbered. There are no line numbers over here. Okay, there is no proper marking of the syntax. Like in other editors, you see that the if keyword is written in some other color and your variable name is written in some other color. Okay, but on the other hand, in this particular notepad, you see that there is nothing, like no markings, no line numbers, nothing. So that's why this is a big drawback when you go to write production level code. It is of thousands of lines, and that's why we use Visual Studio Code. You can use multiple editors, but we would be using Visual Studio Code, okay, throughout. And you can download Visual Studio Code easily over here. Okay, code.visualstudio.com. And we find, although there are multiple editors for Python, okay, but according to us, like me, we follow this particular we use this particular uh, Visual Studio Code editor the most, and you can download it according to your operating system. And simply inside, when you have downloaded, simply inside your folder, what you have to do inside your working folder, you have to write code space dot, and you will see that your Visual Studio Code has been opened. Okay, it is opening. Visual Studio Code gives you a lot of powers and a lot of tools and techniques, like a lot of shortcuts, lot of extensions. We'll see what are they. But here you see that when I write code space dot inside my working folder, then that particular folder has been opened. And now you see the difference between Visual Studio Code and your notepad, right? You have proper line numbers, you have proper indentation, like you can see over here, there are lines, okay, which show that this is 2 tab space, okay, this is 2 tab space. This now here you see I have done a mistake that I have applied 3 tab spaces over here, and just because it is a Visual Studio Code, I can easily correct my code then and there. Okay, so this is the thing. Now let's move on to one step further, wherein we are declaring the variables over here, and now we will see that how can we take this country from the keyboard. Okay, because you want your application to interact with the user. You want your user to interact with the application, like he must be able to enter his choice, his country. Okay, so let's check out. There is a method in Python, there is a function in Python called input, and it takes a parameter. It can take a parameter. Let's say I write enter your country, and whatever the user enters, it returns, and we can catch that return value, the whatever value that input function returns, we can catch that value inside our own Python variable. Let's say country equals to input, and this is the message that would be printing, that enter your country. And on this particular line of code, that is line number 3, the control flow of whole program will stop, and it will stop and wait for the input from the user side. Okay, it will not proceed to the next line. Okay, so here I take country as the input, and I'll check if country, same situations, like um, same if else if ladder, we will check that is the country India, is the country Nigeria. I am inside LF. Let me change this Nigeria prompt, and here let's say the country entered is Nigeria. Okay, and here you are not from India, neither from Nigeria. Okay, so let's check out how this works. Okay, let me save this. The whole process will remain same. Okay, like running your file. Now, as you can see, when I run the file, the first line got printed, that is hello user. But on the third line where we wrote the input method, the control flow of whole program is stopped. Okay, and here it is asking for me to input something like enter your country. So if I enter India, it says, oh, hey India. Okay, second time when I run this program and I type Nigeria, okay, then it goes to the else if condition, and it types it prints the country entered is Nigeria. Okay, similarly, if I type some other country, let's say Australia, you are not from India, neither from Nigeria. Okay, so this is how the if else if ladder is working in the same way, but just one difference, that the input we have taken is from the user. Okay, we are asking from the user that from which country he belongs to. Okay, so this is the method from which you can take the input from the user. One more thing you can do is everything which you can do with a variable, you can do over here. Like you can check what is the type of this variable. Let's say I want to check the type of country which is being input by the user. I have missed something. Just a minute. I will type country over here. Okay, let me check. There is some problem with this. Okay, let's run it again. You will see India. Okay, India. Okay, when you take the input from the user and you want to check the type of that, then it is having some problem. I will tell you that what the problem is. But this is the basic concept of how you can take input from the user, and how you can apply logics to that input. Okay, and the whole if else if ladder and the indentation. Okay, so the same this remains same when we say like we would be writing a COVID application through the command line, and what we will be doing is we will be taking country as the input, and we will searching the data, the COVID data, like how many patients are there, how many cured, how many number of deaths have happened. We will create a data structure and we'll search that data for the particular country. Let's say in India, we will give the number of patients, we will give the number of cured patients, okay, through traversing through our data types. So I think this is enough for today. Tomorrow we will be taking lists, dictionaries, tuples, and how these things work. And we will create our command line application, wherein we will pass the country name to the input, and that country we will be searching inside our complex data structure. Like we will see how lists can be entered inside the list, how how dictionaries can contain list, and how you have to apply the methods to traverse through that, how you can find objects inside from inside those lists. So we are going to do that tomorrow. So I hope you guys we haven't printed now. Yeah, exactly. So this was the problem. Like country over here, although it has returned me the type, but we have not printed it. So if we write print, and like this we write thank you for helping me, and if we write this thing, so if I write India, then you will see that okay, this is being printed. Okay, and again if I write one over here, it will but you see it will again say you that it is of string type. But we know that no country, the number one which we have provided is not a string, it is a number, right? So we will also see how we can typecast this, because in future what you will need to do is you have to input a number and compare it with a number. Okay, but if you see over here, this is a string which we are writing, although we are writing a number, we are writing one over here, but it is returning a string. Okay, so we will see how what typecasting we have to do, because whatever input we receive from the keyboard, that we receive as a string. Okay, so we will see the typecasting, and how can we compare the number which is inputted by the keyboard, by the user, and compare with our Python variables. For that you need to apply typecasting. Okay, we'll look into it. But for today, guys, you can do one thing. You can create your small, like this kind of stuff where you hard code some values, like you can do this. You can take anything, like you can take your country and you can take state over here. Okay, let's say state, and then you can apply if and if else if ladder. Okay, enter your state. Then you can have something like age. I will tell you how typecasting will work, but you can have enter your age, enter your age, and you can apply something like if age is greater than 18, then only this whole information must be shown. Otherwise, the information must not be shown. So you will keep this kind of indentation here. And for the top level, if here you can write else, in you are underaged to see that info. Okay, so you can apply this kind of thing, but for this here you have to write a line. Okay, which is like you have to compare your string with your number. That cannot happen. So okay, let me tell you that what happens is you can do this in that way. Just a minute, let's see first what is the error which we have, or we don't have any error. Okay, don't try to learn things or cram things. Okay, just try to understand what's going wrong. Okay, so if I type python hello world or py, here I missed colon. Hmm. Actually, I'm from Java background, so I don't have like a habit to apply colon. Hello world. Enter your state. Enter B. My age is, let's say, 17. So you will see that name error, name country is not defined. Okay, so let's see what the issue is over here. So it's opening. I don't know how it got closed. So it says that on the line number 6, we don't have print type country. Name country is not defined. Okay, it's very simple. Like we changed the name to we changed the name. I don't know why this is going so wrong, but okay, we changed the name to state, right? There is nothing called country. So for now, let me change it to country because we have applied all the things over here, over there, like all the if else condition through the country variable. So for now, let's do this and check how it goes. The state, India, enter your age 17. Now you will see that not supported between instances of a string and int. It says that we are comparing somewhere comparing a string and integer. Okay, so this is the casting problem. Can anyone tell how can I solve this? Like it is a very easy solution, but the issue is the issue. Let me explain you the issue. The issue is the input which I'm receiving over here is of string type. Okay, the age is of string type, and what I'm trying to compare here is age is greater than 18. How can some string be greater than a number? Okay, it is a comparison between two different. You see, if you hover over this variable age, you will see that is str, and if you hover over 18, you will see that it is of type integer. Now, how can I compare integer to a string, right? It cannot happen. So what I have to do is I have to write this, and let's check. Let's check if I can do this. It's India 17. Right? Now it worked fine, and it says me that you are underaged to see that info, because I took I write I input 17 as the string, but as an input, but that was a string. Instead of writing just age is greater than 18, what I will write is integer. I have to convert that string into integer. I have to parse that string. So if you guys are from like Java background, you might be knowing that in Java there is integer dot parse int, and you pass the string over here age. But again, as Python has made everything very easy, you just have to write int, and inside that integer method, you have to pass your string, and that will be converted into a number. Okay. So this was the typecasting which you have to do in order to compare your input string with your number. So so this was the concept, like I told you about. I thought we'll discuss it tomorrow, but you can do something like this, wherein you make something like if the user is above 21, then only he can access the data of a bank or something. And yes, you can make this kind of conditional application by your own. And tomorrow what we will see is we will check the age of the user. We will check from which country he belongs to, and from that information we would be traversing our data structure, and yes, giving him the information. So I hope this is enough for the day. I think this is enough for the day. We will meet again tomorrow at the same time. If you have any doubts, if you have any problem, yeah, yeah, Shubham, we can do in this way as well, directly through one line. We can do everything like here. I can write input your like input your age, and then I can perform operations like dot capitalize, because everything is an object. Input method is returning an object, so it can be like written in a single line as well, everything. So this is I guess is enough for the way of life. Hello, do you guys have any doubt, or you want anything else to be taught? Mm, or what, any of your feedback, or you think something you want to learn separately, you can tell us. Okay. And we'll meet again tomorrow at the same time, and we'll try to convert our application into a CLI. And then in the next class we'll move on to Django. Okay, we'll see how Django works, what is Django, and through that you can create your web application of COVID. Okay, and yes, that was it for today, and hopefully we will meet tomorrow as well. Any other doubts or any other inputs from your side? Okay. If not, then I would like to say thank you for joining in, and let's meet tomorrow again. And the web development, the HTML, CSS, creating your HTML, CSS, the web pages. Um, the batch is going to start in like 1.5 hour, I guess, 1 hour something. And let's meet over there 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Nigerian time. Let's see who all joins in. We would be creating some clean web pages, and it is for beginners. So today it would be about HTML, CSS, a basic HTML, and then we will use some new CSS to create like a very latest standard CSS to create a neat and clean web page. So yes, thanks for joining in for this call, and thank you so much. Let's meet tomorrow. Bye bye.